Will the UH-60M Black Hawk helicopter take to the skies in Sweden? The UH-60M Black Hawk helicopter has received attention in Sweden in recent years as part of the modernization strategy of the Swedish Air Force and Armed Forces. As a highly capable medium utility helicopter, the UH-60M offers a combination of efficiency, payload, and mission uniqueness that makes it an attractive option for a country with challenging terrain like Sweden. Since the early 2010s, Sweden has shown interest in this variant. Sweden ordered 15 UH-60MS, later designated locally as HKP-16, in 2011, with deliveries beginning and the helicopters subsequently entering service within the Swedish Armed Forces, including for medical and transport missions. This suggests that the answer to the question of whether these helicopters will take to the skies in Sweden can already be answered with a resounding yes, meaning that the UH-60MS have been accepted and put into service. However, even with the units already in the field, there are still interesting aspects to be clarified. How large, when, and under what conditions they will be fully operational in Swedish skies. In July 2024, the Swedish Defense Procurement Agency Forsvarets Materielverk (FMV) announced that it had proceeded with the purchase of an additional 12 UH-60MS through the United States Foreign Military Sales (FMS) mechanism. This signaled Sweden's desire to expand its UH-60M fleet, suggesting that the helicopter's presence was not merely an experiment or a single unit, but rather part of a long-term effort. Technical factors also played a role. The UH-60M variant is equipped with T700 GE701D engines, digital avionics, and a mission system that can be tailored to the needs of the host country. In the Swedish context, a country with extreme climates, remote areas, and a need for high air mobility, the capabilities of such a helicopter are highly relevant. The USDSCA's reported contract, worth approximately $900 million for 12 new aircraft, underscores the significant scale and financial commitment. From an operational perspective, Sweden has operated the UH-60M HKP-16 for several years, performing missions such as medical evacuation and international troop transport. Thus, the phenomenon of appearing in Swedish skies was already underway, but now the focus is shifting to more intensive and larger-scale deployment. The geopolitical and strategic context also influenced Sweden's decision. Amidst growing European defense needs and Russia's increasingly aggressive presence in the Baltic and Arctic regions, Sweden felt the need to strengthen its air mobility and responsiveness. By acquiring more helicopters like the UH-60M, Sweden could improve response speed, mobility between islands and remote areas, and flexibility in air-to-surface operations and search and rescue SAR. Therefore, the program to purchase additional UH-60MS is understandable within this framework. However, challenges remain. Expanding the helicopter fleet requires supporting infrastructure. Hangars, crew training, spare parts logistics, maintenance, and an adequate training system. This must be balanced with sufficient budget and the utilization of domestic industry or joint industrial cooperation. Otherwise, the helicopters could exist, but be less than optimally utilized. For Sweden, which has its own defense industry and high standards. This is a crucial consideration. One question that arises is, when will the new units enter full service? Announcements indicate that deliveries will be made in stages over several years. This means that even if a decision has been made and a contract signed, full deployment will still require a transition period during which the UH-60M fleet will grow and replace or complement existing helicopters. There is also the issue of replacement. The UH-60M helicopter is often used to replace existing helicopter fleets that may be underserved. In the case of Sweden, several UH-90s, HKP-14, are reportedly being replaced by the UH-60M. Thus, the presence of the UH-60M is not merely an addition, but part of a restructuring of the Swedish helicopter fleet. From the perspective of the public and defense observers, the presence of the UH-60M in Sweden can be seen as a signal that Sweden is increasingly serious about strengthening air mobility and adaptive military capabilities. This also implies that Sweden is not relying solely on static systems, but is emphasizing land-air mobility as a crucial aspect of modern defense. However, it should be noted that despite the existence and signing of additional contracts, the presence of the UH-60M in large numbers and its full deployment in all missions is not yet immediately achievable. There is a period of adaptation, operational testing, integration with other systems in the armed forces, as well as training and familiarization. So, while it will happen, the fully airborne phase is still ongoing. In short, the answer to the title of this article is: yes, UH-60M helicopters are already flying in Swedish skies, and their presence will be further expanded. However, the process is still ongoing towards full-scale and deep integration within the Swedish Air Force and Armed Forces. So, this is not mere speculation, but rather a developing reality. We can conclude that the purchase program for an additional 12 UH-60MS, announced in July 2024, is a significant milestone, confirming Sweden's desire to establish this helicopter as a pillar of national air mobility. Therefore, in the next few years, Swedish skies will increasingly be filled with UH-60M helicopters for various missions.